So Bear Archery has put out a number of new bows in the last year, year and a half, and 3 new ones have made it to Bass Pro Shops, and probably other major retailers like that. If you're not familiar, there is a split between big box store and pro shop stuff. They don't always carry the same things. Pro shops get to carry things the big box stores do not. Usually more premium products. These new bows from Bear are meant to be their mainstream, everyman, new shooter, new hunter, on a budget or just doesn't feel like spending a bunch of money. Because if you go to the pro shop, you're probably looking at $2,000 plus before you walk out with a bow. It's just how it goes. You walk into Bass Pro, like I can have you out the door for $650 with a full setup, target, release, arrows, like the bow, the whole deal after taxes. However, none of the bows we're talking about today are quite that low. We're kind of going $550 and up range. So let's talk about it. In a lot of ways, they just upped the game in this segment. This is a very competitive segment. Really, it is either cheap Chinese imports or Diamond is the competition for this. And Diamond honestly has not innovated a whole lot, at least in terms of what has shown up in the store. I don't go and look. I don't have time. I'm only going by what I actually get in store and get to see. Diamond, you got to step it up. You're using the same stuff you've been using for 20 years. And don't get me wrong, it works. It's getting a little tired. Just style it up a little bit. A few extra little features. Anyway, all of the bows are coming with a sight, a rest, sort of stabilizer. Those things are kind of a joke, but there's something there. And they all come with wrist straps. Like, it's a ready-to-go bow. It just needs to be set up. You need your arrows, you need a release, you need a target. That's damn good. The most expensive one on this list is $900. We'll talk about that. I'm not so sure it's worth $900. Let's dive in. We are talking about the updated Adapt 2, Adapt 2 Plus, same thing, the Paradigm, and the Surpass. Now, this trio is available at multiple big box retail. It is meant for new shooters, shooters who don't want to spend a ton of money, people who just want it to work. You want a bow to get out and go hunting. These are not target bows. These are not purely recreational bows. These are bows meant for hunting. Honestly, the standard Adapt 2, same price bracket as the previous one, $569. You got some new features. We'll go over that in a second. The Plus, likewise, few upgrades, same price bracket. In the case of the Plus, it did go up higher, but it's coming with a even better sight than the previous version did. The previous one came with a pretty nice sight for the money. The new one it went up another notch. I think the Adapt is a very well-placed bow in terms of price to performance. We'll get into what I feel about that bow, how I think about that bow later, but price-wise and market share-wise, it does very well. The Paradigm, $629. This is my favorite of the set. I think that it's the most mundane of the set. Like, nothing about it stands out as like super cool compared to the other two. For example, there's nothing on the Paradigm that is not on one of the other bows. Paradigm puts it all together, and it does it at a price point that is extremely attractive for the level of bow you're getting. More importantly for me, it's the one I shoot the best. The Adapt does not suit my hands. It doesn't suit my style. I don't like the grip. It's not a downside for the bow. It just, for me, I don't like it. And the Surpass is much more expensive, and I couldn't get it to shoot as well. So for me, the Paradigm is that sweet spot. At $629, it's hard to beat. The Surpass, it's the newest one. I've only ever played with one. I've only done a very brief play. So take everything I say about the Surpass with a grain of salt that is a little bigger than normal. That's fair. It is $899. It's a little pricey for this market. That said, there is a non-ready-to-hunt version that is more reasonably priced, because I think at this price point, people are going to put other accessories on. So charging them for accessories that they're then going to rip off, that customer doesn't want that stuff. You're just charging them for things they don't want. So I think the bare bow version, better deal. We'll get into that. It has a new to this market cable guide system. Does an outstanding job. Like I was looking at that and going, what the hell? And when I used it, when I dialed the bow in, I was like, oh, yeah, it works well. We'll get into some details on that in a minute, but I was impressed. The Paradigm and the Surpass make it very easy to have a very dialed in bow in terms of torque. If you are somebody who you want to shoot minimal torque, you're doing big custom broadheads, you really want to get everything perfect, the Paradigm and the Surpass are excellent. I personally would go with the Paradigm. You get a little more adjustability versus it just being built in. So let's dive in. Let's start with the odd man out, which is the Adapt. This is the signature bow for the Hunting Public YouTube channel. If you're not aware, they are a YouTube channel that basically is an educational channel about all forms of hunting, primarily bow hunting. But they don't do it from like a super boutique, premium, guided hunt extravaganza. They do it as the hunting public. This is, their goal is to make it accessible for everybody. Despite not being a giant channel, they are pretty well known in the industry because individually they have worked for other outlets over the years. They made a deal with Bear. I don't know who approached who. I don't know how this went down, but they have their own signature bow, and it is excellent. It fits right in with their style. This is kind of a traditional looking bow. You have a solo cam design. You have that rubberized grip. You have a design that harkens back to a prior era while still being a modern, capable bow at a price point that basically, if you can afford to go hunting, the Adapt is not going to be a problem budget-wise. Anybody who thinks hunting is an economical way to feed themselves, you are delulu. But part of the goal was it's a bow that does not require a ton of practice to shoot well. Now, if you want to shoot really well, yes, you need that practice, but it isn't a bow that punishes you for a slightly less than perfect shooting skill. Some bows are really demanding. The Adapt, no, it's pretty casual, it's pretty relaxed. You have to mess up for the bow to give you a hard time. And that is one of the things I like about it. The minimum skill level to shoot an Adapt well, pretty reasonable. Because let's face it, a lot of people using these bows, particularly big box retail buyers, they pull it out about this time of year. They shoot for a week or two. They go hunting. It is what it is. They're not the guys that are shooting day in, day out, year round. Their skill level is not the same. Their consistency is not the same. So a bow that requires that higher skill level to perform well, not appropriate. This is the bow for the guy that's just taking it easy. Just for the details, the Adapt's basic specs, 24 to 31 for draw length. You can get it in 45 to 60, 55 to 70, 80% let off, and a 31-inch axle to axle. So it's, by modern hunting bow standards, this is pretty basic. Nothing stands out as, oh my God, because the Adapt was a very popular bow. It's been out for a while, tons of reviews. There's no surprises there, right, for the basic bow. What's cool is that you added an integrate front sight. Inline. The Hoyt Inline front sight mount, and an integrate into the riser rest mount. That's the little dovetail in the back. You got both of those on a $569 bow. Right, that's pretty freaking incredible. Does Bear take full advantage of this? Not really, but they do some. It does have a roller guide for the cables. It is not adjustable. You get what you get, but it works pretty well. I didn't have any issues with it. This is not a bow that torques a lot. With the new riser, very stable, very comfy. No complaints. If you are not familiar, the integrate and inline, they move everything more toward the center of the bow. They move the mount points closer to the center of the bow. So then your quiver can mount closer to the center of the bow. It's a little more flush to the bow. It moves the weight inboard. And it also reduces the amount of the effect that torque has on things. Overall, good. It also reduces the odds you're going to bump things and move them out of whack. Now, that's not a big deal on the sight, but on the rest, with the standard traditional rest mount, it was just friction keeping it from pivoting. And, you could bump it and you tipped it up, you tipped it down. very difficult to dial in. The integrate system, the inline system, everything goes in an exact spot. There's no playing around with it. You mount it, you could mark it if you want, done. I like it. These are things that have been available in high-end bows for about 2 or 3 years now. As far as I know, these are the first time mainstream bows have gotten them at this level. Certainly some mid-price stuff has gotten it, but I want to say this is the first time we've seen it in bows in this price range. Now, the other big difference on the Adapt I mentioned earlier, that rubber grip. Now, not a personal fan. That's just, let's get that out of the way. I am not a fan. However, a lot of people like it. And if you're shooting a lot with gloves on, if you are shooting in very cold environments, definitely a benefit. I have other solutions for this, but certainly, like, everybody does this a little differently, and not putting your bare hand onto bare aluminum while hunting in very cold environments is a good thing. Having a wide, flat, rubberized grip that provides a little more of a secure surface to press against your hand when your hand may be numb, cold, slippery. Yeah, not saying it's bad. It doesn't suit me. This is a point where you need to go, I like it or I don't like it. And what I always do is I hand people the bow and I hand people one without it and I go, which speaks to you? Because if you have a strong opinion one way or the other, we can quickly eliminate a whole category, right? Either the Adapt is out or the Adapt is going to probably be the winner. It's that simple. Now, I have not gotten to play with the Adapt 2 Plus. The big difference there is the sight. Now, it does come with a QD stabilizer and a better stabilizer. I think that those are all whatever. But the the sight looks like a significant upgrade. I haven't gotten to play with it. I don't know. They have not come in for my store. If that sight looks like something you want to use, the price might be worth it. If it doesn't, if you already have a sight or if you plan to use a particular sight, just get the regular one. It's the same thing it was before. You use the regular bow and you upgrade your sight to the one of your choosing. Now, our next one up is the Paradigm. This is my unquestioned favorite of the group. This only goes down to 27 inches though. That's the biggest weakness of this bow. 27-inch draw minimum. If you are 5'9" and below, you may be in trouble. This may not be the bow for you. It does go higher. It goes up to 32. So if you are a taller guy, you may squeak into this one. There are not a lot of bows on the market right now in this price range that go that long. 31 is really common. 31 and a half even, but 32 is rare. That last half inch helps. By the way, the Adapt is 320 feet per second. I forgot to mention it. 320 feet per second. I'll run through all those at the end. The Paradigm is 333 feet per second. And it is basically a very adjustable draw weight bow. Not massive, but it goes down relatively low for a bow like this and goes up to 70. And it is 80% let off, by the way. Now, 33-inch axle to axle, so it is a taller bow than the Adapt. This is not a small bow. This is a lot more of a mid-size to a larger bow by modern hunting bow standards. Some people like it, some people don't. I am typically shooting a target bow for my own stuff. So for me, the taller bow actually feels better. It feels a little closer to what I'm used to. Integrate rest mount, oh my God, I'm so backwards. The inline rest mount, the integrate front sight mount are standard. You have a DHC cam system, one of Bear's better cam systems in my opinion. Very smooth, feels great. I really like it. You don't get there's no harshness to the cam. There's no point where you're like, oh my God, I can't make it. And then it doesn't dump off real hard. It really feels good. Now, I'm obviously pulling it back in the 27.5 to 29, 28.5 range. Anything much below that, I'm really not built for it. I can do it, but I'm not seeing the proper feel of it because my arm is in the wrong position. Anything longer than that, again, I really am not that size, so I'm straining just to get that far back. Nobody I've had tried out has had any objection to the cam system. Very popular. What I like is that it's a good combination of a premium feel, a little more demanding feel, without really being demanding. It doesn't punish you The back wall isn't super tight. It's firm, but if you creep forward just a hair, it doesn't try to run away on you immediately. I don't tend to bounce off the back wall on that bow. Some bows with a really firm back wall, you get bounce. It's a bow that was really easy to get used to and get comfortable with quickly. The other big thing it has is an adjustable guide rod. Now, adjusting that guide rod is a bit of a pain. Bear, come up with a better system. However, very simple system, and it works great. Absolutely no problems using it, and it really does work. You can, if you are doing a 4X fletch, 4-fletch, low profile vane setup, you can dial that in and have super tight clearances and almost no torque in the bow. Like, it shoots wonderfully. If I was going to use one of these, this would be it. Almost because of that. It's just a great setup. For me, it also shoots the best. I had no problem. Everything about that bow, when you're setting it up, it is logical. It is, you do it the way you think it should be, and you're right. Like, a lot of bows, you're visually lining things up, and you go, oh, it was close, but not quite, right? The Paradigm, you're like, well, it looks like where it should be, and you're right. It absolutely is. It shoots, it dials in to shoot really well, really easily. No issues at all. It took me no time at all to be stacking arrows with it. Now, I was using blazers, so I still had some torque on the bow compared to what you can get with low profile, but really close in, and it just, the arrow's right in line with the string path. The sight is right in line. Like, there was nothing that I was like, is that right? Is that not right? Once I dialed in the cable guide, everything just fell in place. Now, they ship with the cable guide way out to the side. You do not want to leave it there. Unless you are running gigantic fletching, you do not want to leave it there. But if you run normal blazers, just bring it in almost vertical. If you're running low profile fletching, you can actually bring it in toward the inside of the riser. Just play with it. Figure out, look down your arrow and make sure you have enough clearance for your vanes, and you're good. If you have the bow properly timed, the rest of the setup, super fast, super easy. It's the kind of bow where if you're in the field and something happens to your rest and you put a backup rest that somebody brought, or just, hey, they finished shooting, they're done hunting for the week. You pull their rest off, you put it on your bow. You can guesswork it into place, right? Like, it will be fine. This bow is really not super picky. I didn't need any precision, tools. I didn't need any precision measuring instruments. I didn't have to get out the laser. I'm not sitting there with a chart of the arrow should be this many millimeters high and this many millimeters over from the riser. Just eyeballed it, and it worked great. I mean, I'm good. I'm a pretty good tech on this kind of stuff. You're still eyeballing it, right? Like, it's still not precision adjustment, but the results were. The results were as if I had sat there with precision tools and dialed it in, and can't beat it. This is the one I would buy. It's basically 100% function. You're not getting any extra gimmicky stuff. It let them fit the price point for a bigger audience. It's a shade faster than the Adapt or the Legit, which is my other favorite. The Legit's a slower bow, though, 315, I think. This is 335. Good cam system, good let off. Like, I like it. It gives you that quick, easy confidence that your bow can get the job done, that you are going to be the limitation, that the bow is going to perform, that if you had to adjust something in the field, something got bumped and you had to put it back, it's good. You're fine. Like, that you're not going to be in trouble because of that. It is not for beginners. I will say that. The Paradigm is your second bow as an adult. Or if you've been shooting as a kid a lot, okay. But it is not a complete beginner's bow, but it's a mainstream mid to entry bow. You're not buying a premium product. You're buying a very good entry product. So the Surpass, the new one for me. I will say I have not had a chance to really work on dialing this in, but I've already put in twice as much work as I put in getting a Paradigm dialed in, and the results are not as good. I am assuming that it is me. I'm assuming that I have not found the correct tune, but until I do, I don't know. It is faster. It is a bigger adjustment range. If you are a shorter shooter, then fits into the paradigm, this bow may be for you. Goes down to 25 inches draw length. That makes this bow fit for a lot of people who are height challenged. Women, teens, shorter guys, you need the power to pull it back. But if you have that, your height won't be the limiting factor. It doesn't use a traditional guide rod system. It's got kind of this hinged multi-piece system that looks a little bizarre. It straight up works. The amount of torque on this bow is so low that I didn't feel the need to fiddle with it. I think that this is one of those bows where cable system is just out of your way. You don't worry about it. You don't think about it. It's one less thing you have to play with to get the bow dialed in. Because all the issues I was having were not torque related. Like I got to figure out maybe the cam lean. I got to figure out maybe I got the timing a hair off and it's super picky about that. Maybe I just got to dial in that rest a little bit more. And it's not, where you would want it visually, is not the correct spot. I don't know yet. I have not had time to really play. It does come with one of the nicer sights that Bear offers on their packages. So if that's the sight you're going to go with, great. If not, I suggest you buy the Bear bow, which is not available in store, but you can order it. But it's a 4-pin system that uses the React system. That means that you dial in your 20-yard pin by moving the whole housing, and then you dial in the other pins by basically turning the dial, and your other pins move like they're on a ballistic calculator. It's great. Much easier. You're not sitting there playing around with fiddly little sight pins, because let's face it, we strip them out all the time when we start moving those things, and adjusting them is always a pain because it's not like they go click, click, click. No, you loosen them, and then you're trying to move it a certain amount, and then you tighten it, and it goes tips, and right? They're horrible. Whoever came up with that system needs shot. But the Paradigm comes with a React sight, the Surpass comes with a React sight. It's outstanding, particularly for beginners who are going to change weight on their bow. They're going to change arrows on their bow as they, okay, I'm past newbie stage, I'm buying better arrows. All these things change your sight setup. And not having to completely start tinkering with your sight to adjust, it's golden. Just way nicer. Now, like I mentioned, I cannot yet get the Surpass to shoot as well as I think it can. I'm not getting the group size that I expect. I don't know what it is. However, I really like the draw. It took a little getting used to. It is similar to the Paradigm. Felt a little more aggressive. The bow is a little more tailored to an advanced shooter. So it was a little more like a premium bow where you kind of got to shoot a dozen or so shots before your body starts going, oh, okay, that's where it breaks over, that's where it stops. Or you bounce, or you don't quite make it to full draw, or it takes a little adjusting. This isn't a beginner bow. Once I got used to it, definitely did like it. I felt like it was a nice balance of features. I didn't feel like I was shooting an entry-level bow. I felt like I was shooting a mid-tier bow. Nobody's going to confuse it with a top-of-the-line Hoyt or Matthews, but it also didn't feel like I bought it at Walmart. The part of the Surpass that I have a problem with that isn't setup-wise, that I'm not going to solve, because I am confident that I'm going to solve the accuracy precision issue, the group size issue. I just have to do it. I have to get the time in and figure out the tune. The part I have trouble with is that it's $900 for the base model. Do I think it competes properly in $1,000? No. Because unless that's the sight you really want, $1,000 is awful steep. An Alaskan XT, same price point, a little cheaper. So the Alaskan XT is a remake of the Resurgence. You get all the extra features. You get an integrate, you get an inline, you get roller cables, and the whole accessory package. You get a sight and a rest and a stabilizer for less than the Bear bow on the Surpass. Why am I buying a Surpass? Like, same speed, both pretty quiet, similar cam systems. I don't understand why I would buy the Surpass. Maybe there's something I'm missing. Tell me. If you know something about the Surpass that would make you buy that over a Alaskan XT, tell me, because I'm still figuring out the Surpass. Experienced shooters probably already have a sight and a rest that they're going to use. So the bare bow, to me on the Surpass, is the one that would really be selling. It's not available in store, maybe at pro shops, but at Bass Pro it is not available in store. But you can order it, and you can order it and bring it into the store. It'll get set up. That's fine. The potential's there. I'm a little confused about the price point. Oh, before I forget, no integrate, no inline on the Surpass. That's the part that really kills me on the price. We're going backwards in a lot of ways, and the price went up. I don't understand, which is why I think the Alaskan XT is the better choice. It's not available in store. It's a pro shop model or online from Bear. So that's my roundup of the relatively new bows from Bear. I'm only talking about ones that are available at Bass Pro Shop. That's where I work. That is what I'm familiar with. I'm not telling you to buy them there or anything. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is these are the ones I see day to day that I'm familiar with. I haven't gotten to play with their other models, so I don't know. For me, the Paradigm hits that sweet spot. If you don't know what you want and you are not a beginner, but you don't want to spend a ton of money, look hard at the Paradigm. If you already have a bunch of accessories and just want a new bow, a Surpass bare bow might be your option if you don't need the integrate and the inline, if you've got legacy equipment. But honestly, I'd still probably look at the Paradigm because it's cheaper. And I can make it shoot better. And it still has the legacy holes. But you got the new stuff, so when you upgrade later, you can use it. Why not? If you prefer rubber grips or the traditional solo cam design, or you're a big hunting public fan, hey, the Adapt 2 is a nice upgrade of the original Adapt. Price point is excellent. Bow is excellent. Not my cup of tea, but I certainly sell a lot of them, and people are very happy with them. It is a good feeling bow, shoots well. And then the Surpass, that to me is the odd duck. It's not like it's a bad bow. It's a very nice bow. I just don't understand the price point and feature list. Maybe I'm missing something, so feel free to chime in on that. But otherwise, not my cup of tea. And I'm going to keep working on dialing it in because I don't think the accuracy, I don't think the group size is the bow's fault in the sense that it's not capable of doing better. I just need to figure it out. That is it. Take care, have fun, stay safe, everybody, and get out there and practice because hunting season is basically here.